Welcome to Esoteric Recaps. While vacationing in Switzerland, physician Chris Nielsen crosses paths with artist Annie Collins. Their connection is immediate, as if they've known each other forever. Drawn together by an undeniable bond, they marry and build a life filled with love and happiness, raising two children, Ian and Marie. However, their idyllic world is shattered when a tragic car accident claims the lives of their children. Overcome with grief, Annie suffers a mental breakdown, and their marriage teeters on the brink of collapse. Despite the immense strain, they manage to pull through, holding on to each other through their shared sorrow. Years later, on the anniversary of their decision to stay together, fate delivers another cruel blow. Chris is killed in a car accident. Unaware of his death, he lingers on Earth, confused and desperate to reach Annie. He watches helplessly as she struggles to cope with yet another devastating loss. Though a spirit-like presence warns him that his attempts to communicate will only cause her more pain, he refuses to let go. When his efforts only deepen her suffering, he makes the heartbreaking choice to move on. Chris awakens in heaven, a world shaped by his own imagination. There, he meets a man who appears to be Albert, his former mentor from medical residency and the guiding presence he had sensed while lingering on Earth. Albert becomes his guide, helping him navigate this new reality, where each soul crafts their own surroundings and can visit the dreamscapes of others. When a blue jacaranda tree unexpectedly appears in Chris's heaven, identical to one in a painting Annie recently created, Albert explains that this is a rare sign of soulmates connecting across realms. However, Annie, overcome by despair and doubt, destroys the painting, and as she does, the tree in Chris's world disintegrates before his eyes. Heartbroken, he begins to accept that they may never be reunited. Amid his sorrow, Chris encounters a young woman named Leona, who he soon realizes is his daughter, Marie. She has chosen a new appearance and exists in a world shaped like a beloved childhood diorama. Their reunion is deeply emotional, a moment of light in Chris's otherwise heavy heart. Meanwhile, on Earth, Annie's grief proves unbearable. Unable to go on without Chris, she takes her own life. Initially, Chris feels relief, believing her suffering has ended. But his relief turns to horror when he learns that suicides are condemned to hell, not as punishment, but because their pain traps them in a self-created nightmare. Refusing to accept this fate for Annie, Chris vows to rescue her, despite Albert's warnings that no one has ever succeeded. Reluctantly, Albert agrees to help, leading Chris to a tracker who appears in the form of Sigmund Freud and will guide him into hell. As they descend into the underworld, Chris recalls his son, Ian, and remembers calling him the one person he'd want by his side if he ever had to brave hell. This realization leads to a shocking discovery. Albert is actually Ian, who had chosen to appear as Chris's trusted mentor to ensure he would listen. Before parting, Ian urges his father to remember how he once saved his marriage in the wake of tragedy. With those words, Chris continues his perilous journey. Passing through a desolate field where the damned are trapped in agony, Chris finally reaches a dark, twisted version of his home, the prison of Annie's tormented soul. The tracker then reveals himself as the real Albert, warning Chris that if he stays too long, he too will become lost in the depths of hell. At best, he has only moments to say goodbye. Inside, Chris finds Annie consumed by despair and amnesia, unaware of both her death and her suffering. Unable to reach her, he makes a drastic choice. Rather than leave, he decides to stay with her forever, sacrificing his own salvation. As he speaks the same words he once said when leaving her in a mental institution after their children died, something in her awakens. Memories flood back, and the love between them reignites. Her desire to save him becomes stronger than her despair, and in that moment she breaks free, bringing Chris with her. Reunited in heaven, Chris and Annie find Ian and Marie, restored to their original forms. At peace at last, Chris suggests they start anew through reincarnation, to live and love again. The story comes full circle as the film ends with Chris and Annie meeting as children, unknowingly beginning their journey all over again. Like and subscribe for more notifications. Thanks for watching.